My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I've become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on. As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side. I've been pushing really hard to get humanitarian assistance into Gaza.
Joining me now, New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. A lot to unpack from what went down last night. First, we get the report, which calls the president an elderly man, talks about his confusion. Then the president himself comes out to respond. Obviously, the White House was hoping that would be his big moment. And then he went on to make more mistakes.
Yes, Cheryl, look, and it was interesting. He'd finished the press conference and then he just decided to come back and do it again.
Yeah. No, it was tough to watch. All of this obviously brings into question the president's cognitive ability. Even in the report, they talk about his diminished faculties and advancing age. His faulty memory in these current interviews. We also know that next week we're going to be hearing from Tony Bobulinski in the Hunter Biden story. And Tony Bobulinski says that President Biden's lying because he says we met back in 2017. And the president is saying, well, that never happened. You have to wonder, Miranda, if it's the president doesn't remember at all.
I think that lets him off the hook too much. And really, that was what Robert Hur was doing. Robert Hur was trying to find a way to justify why he wasn't bringing charges. And so it's the thanks that he gets from the president and all the president's allies this morning all over fanning out across the media is to attack Robert Hur and call him a Trumpy. You know, he's a Trumper. That's what they call him. And so Robert Hur can't win. He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. And that's, you know, he should have charged Joe Biden because Joe Biden had all these classified documents all over the place dating from his Senate days, and they were stashed in very insecure locations, like in a complete mess in his garage. So I think Robert Hur just had to find something to justify that, and that was calling him an elderly man with a poor memory. I'm sure Joe Biden, when he was being asked questions during the 5-hour interview with Robert Hur, said that he couldn't remember anything, because that's what people do when they've done something wrong. They say, oh, I can't remember, that was too long ago. Joe Biden only has himself to blame for that. And I do think, though, that you see him at press conferences. Yes, he forgets things. Yes, he's obviously, you know, not the full quid, as they say. He's not very sharp, but he's sharp enough. I mean, he's, you know, even back in 2020, he was sharp in the debates. He still does very few press conferences, but when he does, he's obviously, his doctors or whoever have got him into a mental state where he can cope with that. So he's not completely gone, is what I'm saying. And therefore, I think he ought to be accountable for his actions. He ought to have been held accountable for stashing those classified documents everywhere and willfully doing so and sharing them, just as Donald Trump has been. But that's why they had to have this headline-grabbing moment, basically saying that the president's too senile. And I think Tony Bobulinski is going to, you know, he had a front row seat on the entire China grift with the Bidens.
Right. And
he's able to explain that and also explain how Joe Biden lied about his involvement in that.
Right. Let me ask you about something else here. You know, Miranda, it's Super Bowl weekend, and, you know, President Biden, again, is not doing a sit-down interview on Super Bowl Sunday. A taped interview. This is with CBS this time. This would have been an easy, you know, out of the park softball interview, probably with Norah O'Donnell, but they say no, they don't want to do it. The White House says, oh, he's going to be doing. Doesn't this show you once again that the White House is really trying to hide the president from the public, because they know what is going on behind the scenes. I mean, this makes you think, is there some kind of deep state going on here?
Well, look, that's the only thing that you can think, because that's a gift. I mean, what president would give up having a softball interview before millions of people in an election year? It's just incredible. And, you know, the only excuse that the White House has is, oh, we want the American people to enjoy their football. No, they like to shove politics down our throats at every chance they can get. So it's just that they don't trust Joe Biden to do a 15-minute interview. He's done no sit-down interviews since October, and it's not as if he ever gets asked tough questions. He does hardly any press conferences. I think he's done 13 or 14 in his entire 3 years. That's, you know, 1/5 of what Barack Obama did, 1/3 of what Donald Trump did. That's on average per year. I'm not saying how many they did over their entire terms. I'm saying that Obama did 5 times more per year than Joe Biden. He is hiding from the media. The only time reporters really get a chance to talk to him, apart from last night, and look what the disaster that was, is when he's walking across to Marine One, and you can barely hear what he's saying over the sound of the rotor blades.
Miranda Devine, so glad that you were with us this morning. A lot to cover. Obviously, we're looking ahead to next week and that Bob Alinsky testimony. I'm sure we're going to have you back very soon. Miranda, thank you, ma'am.